What up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Got some parts in the mail. Actually, one part. I say parts. I got one part in the mail, and we got something in for the Mustang. The Mustang has had issues with trying to stay cool. We've got the little Honda radiator in there. I've kind of kicked around some ideas. I thought about doing the rear mount radiator stuff, but I really don't want to pay, or I really don't want to buy electric water pump, all the lines and fittings and all that stuff. It'll get pretty expensive pretty fast. So I found an alternative. I'm going to try, see where this gets me. So I bought a radiator online. It says cooling and radiator specialist, but this is the radiator we got. And as you can tell by looking at the fill cap, how much wider this is than the one that's currently on the car. So let's go down and we'll plop this up next to the Mustang and I can show you the differences and how thick it is. Right. So here's our current radiator situation. This is just a standard 2-core aluminum. You can't really see. 2-core aluminum radiator. I was unaware that there was an actual 4-core option versus the 2-core. Hopefully this will help. The car pretty much just can't stay cool. I mean, I can start it up right now. It's probably 60 degrees outside. And if I pulled it outside here, it would probably get 220 degrees in probably about less than 10 minutes, just idling. I'm going down the track, even 8th mile racing. This thing still pretty well overheats every time you drive it. One thing I noticed the other day, you can kind of see the end tank here. It's pretty bowed out. I don't know. Remember if it was with this motor or the old 6.2 that had issues, but somewhere along the lines, something got a little bit of pressure in here and she got a little fat. You know, we may have a head gasket issue. It may have lifted a head. I did add a sensor, the pressure sensor there to monitor coolant pressure. I just haven't wired it yet. Get some bungs welded on this thing and we'll try and get it plopped in the car and see if we can figure out if this thing's going to cool any better or not. We've got the old radiator here, new radiator here. As you can tell, substantially larger. Also, if you can tell, she was got a little ballooned out there on both sides. And yeah, you can see that the curve in the core and the sides of it. This one definitely saw some pressure, and like I said, I don't know if that happened with the old 6.2 back when we had issues with the 6.2 or what. Hopefully it's not this engine. If it is, we're gonna have to yank the heads off of it and I don't know, resurface the heads again and put better head gaskets on it. They're quick mount zip tie things, but I'm gonna use these to mount the fan. I got the radiator kind of set down in there. Definitely have to make some modifications. Dang, I scratched it. Oh, man. And get the fan put on. I got the hoses on. I'm going to take those back off. But yeah, we'll get the fan put on here, get it zipped down, and then tighten up these fittings on the lines, and then hopefully throw some water in this thing and see if we can crank it up, set it outside here, let it run for a little while and see if it'll overheat or whatnot. Make sure it doesn't get hot on me anymore. So let's get to it. It's been running for about 5 or 10 minutes. The temp up to 176, 177 and climbing. You know, once it starts to climb, I can turn the fan on and it just, like, it didn't do anything. It would never cool the motor down unless it was, I mean, even there was times when it was really cold and I would turn the fan on and then, like, the temperature would still just climb and climb and climb and climb. Like, it would never catch itself, even with the fan on. So this radiator is quite a bit thicker. So same fan and everything. Literally all I changed was the radiator itself. Still got water in it, no coolant or nothing like that. I'm gonna let it get up to like 195 degrees. If it'll cool down any once I turn the fan on. Kick this fan on here, 196 and a half, 197. And let's just see if we can catch it. 197 and a half, 196. Oh, there it goes. It's coming down. It's never done that before, ever. I guess we'll car's been running for 2.5 minutes, almost 3 minutes by itself with the fan running, and the temperature's dropped down to 178 degrees. It's practically dropped 20 degrees in about less than 3 minutes of just sitting there idling. That thing's never done that, and it's still dropping. I'm gonna run for another 2.5, 3 minutes. We're down to 173.2. Looks like it's slowing down a little bit. You know, the first 2.5 minutes it dropped 20 degrees, and it's been another 2.5 minutes, and it looks like it's only dropped about 5 degrees, but it is still dropping, so that's a huge improvement. 25 degrees in about 5 minutes of just sitting there idling, and it's still dropping though. 172. Like I said, I think we've got it sorted out here with this new radiator. All right, so I don't know how long this video is going to be, but we got the radiator put in the Mustang, right? It's going to be 70 degrees here this weekend. One of the local tracks is opening up. Mocan, it's one we always go to, that one in US 36. They put up something the other day where they're going to have a test and tune day on Sunday. So we're going to try and go to the track. I think we're going to take Dad's Dart. We just got the boost controller set up on Dad's car, and we got the radiator put in the Mustang, and I had to pull the dash out of the car to get the wiring and stuff out for the onboard air for Dad's boost controller setup. And while I had that out, I was like, well, hell, while I got this out, I'm going to go ahead and wire up, and we're going to put a coolant pressure sensor in the water pump so we can monitor coolant pressure. That way we can see head gasket life and kind of see if, you know, we get to a point where we starting to push water, you know, you can back it down a little bit and not really just knock the head gaskets out of this thing. So got the new radiator in it the other day. Heat cycled it, as you saw there, kept it cool. Everything was good before it overheat like nobody's business, and shoved it back in the garage. I pulled it back out the other day, fired it up, let it run, let it get up temp, turned the fan on, temp came down, everything was good, whatever. Well, the first time I'd run, when I was starting it up after I put it on, I had the cap off of it and I had the funnel on it, and it was just burping all the fluid out of it, or burping all the bubbles out of it. When I pulled it back out a couple days later and started it back up, I had the cap on it and got up temp, everything was good, whatever. Well, as I was trying to wire this sensor up, I noticed that the new radiator looks like it is about to give birth. So now, if you look down in here, you can tell the side of this thing is actually just like bowed out, both sides. You can see it there. You can see the lines in the cores. They're not straight anymore. So obviously we're getting coolant pressure in the radiator. And that's just an idle. That's not even boost pressure. That's just combustion gas from it starting and running. Here's my pressure sensor, which is going to be really awesome. That was going to be really cool, you know, so I can see pressure. I'm going to get in the Holly. I'm going to set it all up and see if we can see how much coolant pressure is in the cooling system and idle. I can get that sorted out and get that working. And then if I can't, I went to Harbor Freight and picked up one of these combustion leak testers, and we'll try that out and see if we can figure out for sure if this thing has blown head gaskets. So let me try and get this sensor hooked up and set up and see what we can find out on a data log. Well, apparently I'm an idiot. I set the sensor up, started it up, let it run, took a data log, pulled the log, put it in the computer, and it just shows that it's just a constant 150 PSI. And I know this thing doesn't have 150 PSI in it. If it does, then I got some major problems. I'm gonna pull the cap off of it like a dummy. Don't do this at home. Yeah, I just pulled the cap off. I wonder, I don't know, maybe I got something jacked up with no thermostat in this thing. Hell, I don't know. But we're gonna fire this thing up. Got my little tester thing here. We got the fluid in it, and we're just gonna see what it shows me. So we'll fire this up, see what happens. It's not changing colors. yellow or something. All right, so I just shut it off and I let it sit here and run. It says for like a minute, and you're just supposed to let it kind of like, you're supposed to do this thing with it. And the fluid, I mean, it's blue-green-ish. They tell you that if it's green, or if it turns green with diesel engines, then it has combustion gas in it. But if it turns yellow in gasoline engines, it has combustion gas in it. What's it mean for ethanol? Maybe the ethanol will affect it differently versus gasoline because it burns different, but it is kind of green in color versus the blue in color. I also ended up just hooking another sensor up and seeing if it still reads 150 PSI to know if it's actually got pressure in it there for some reason, or if my wiring's just botched up. So we'll go pull the data log and see what we see. I put this spare sensor, plugged it in, and it was still reading like 150 PSI. Couldn't figure out why. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to double check my wiring. I know I'm not a total idiot. So I pulled this out because I got this from, what's the name of this company? Monkey Fab. Yeah, so I bought two of these. One for the BK, one for the Mustang. And it's kind of a splice for the power tap so you can supply. It gives you 3 5-volt powers, 3 sensor grounds, 3 12-volt powers, and then 3 grounds, you know what I'm saying? What I did was I pulled it apart, and this outside terminal right here was not snapped in place. So whenever I went through and I was probing it, my 5-volt reference had continuity between the two sensors, but my sensor grounds did not have continuity between the two of them. So I pulled this one out, or pulled it back up in here, snapped it in place. So I got to throw the lock back in it. Throw this little lock back in here. And then I should be able to put this back in, plug it in how I had it, and we'll double check and make sure I've got the sensor ground and such. So this goes here, like this, maybe, no, like this. And then I go back here to the power tap on the harness and plug this back in. And like that. So now when I go out here and check continuity between each power and each ground, they should work. I think I got the pressure sensor working. I did take a small little data log. I started the car up. It was already hot. Checked the data log. It showed like 20 some pounds of pressure. And then the pressure actually fell off the longer it ran. So what I did was I pulled the cap off, burped the pressure, whatever pressure was in there out, put a cap back on it. The car is currently warm, but there's no pressure. So I'm going to start it up, start a data log, because I want to see the pressure come up. And then I want to see at what point the pressure decides to fall off. With that tester, it didn't really appear that it was changing color a whole lot. So I'm not convinced that the head gaskets are blown in this. Part of me thinks that this happened the other day when I had it running and it got up to like 200 and some degrees. It might have been like 210 or 215 or something. But mind you, this has straight water in it. Straight water will boil at like 212 degrees, and then you're just assuming the GM like 30-year-old sensor, coolant sensor, is reading correctly. So my main thing is like, do I go ahead and pull the heads off of it, put head gaskets on it, or do I take it out and try and wring its neck and see if I have coolant pressure issues? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it up, like I said, start a data log, see if the pressure will come up, let it run for a little bit, let it cool back down to a reasonable temp, and I'm going to back it out in the driveway. We're going to put it on the 2-step, let it build some boost, and see what the pressure does with some boost in it. So let me fire this thing up, and we'll see what happens. All right, so we got the car out here, letting it warm up. I went and got my CO2 tank filled, so now we can test it with the CO2. I'm gonna grab the laptop, work on the tune, and just see, I think I'm gonna put like 10 on the dome and see how it responds with the CO2. All right, so we got it up to roughly operating temperature, 170 degrees. It's staying pretty steady at 170, but we'll try it without dome pressure. I've got it set to 10 on the dome, but right now this will be just wastegate, and we'll see what it makes, and then like I said, we'll be able to monitor coolant pressure as well. I think must be some CO2 in the line, because that got pretty aggressive. Let's try that again. God, it's violent. Temperature only went up about 10 degrees. A couple two-step tests. That's good. We'll go ahead and stop this log, pull it up. At least we know it wants to make some boost. So, got the log open here. Don't mind the glare on the computer. See if I can try and not make this look like crap. As you can see down here at the bottom, we have target dome, dome pressure, coolant pressure, and boost pressure down here. All the pressures down here. Where's it at? Coolant pressure is the green line here. You can see it kind of hanging out there. It does some funny stuff every now and then, which is weird. You know, like I get on the RPM and the pressure drops. And maybe that's not weird. Maybe that's common. I don't know, because I've never monitored coolant pressure on this thing. But yeah, you know, I get it up on the two-step, start popping and banging some boostuses down here. And we're at 10 pounds target dome. Dome pressure is at 10 psi, and coolant pressure down here is only 8 psi. And we are at 11.5 pounds of boost on the two-step. So not too bad from what I can tell. You know, and then get it back down to idle and the pressure comes up, but it's, you know, 12 pounds ish. Kind of jumps around depending on where you're at in the log here. I tried one two-step here. I didn't think I had any, well, basically I had it set up in the computer to be targeting 10 pounds of dome, but I turned the valve off on the CO2, but there's still pressure in the lines there. So it came up and hit 9.5 pounds. I caught it pretty fast, and I got off of it and then started it again with the valve open, and then it made 11.5 ish. So that's 10 pounds of dome, makes 11.5 pounds of boost. It's a lot. I'll probably end up dropping this down a little bit. Ideally, I like to leave, I mean, depending on the track surface, I'd like to leave on like 12 to 14. I think the most the car's ever left on, I think, was 12. I think I tried one at like 13 pounds, and that was the one where the car had gotten unhappy down there at Mocan, and I had to pedal it a couple times. But all in all, I'm not super concerned about the head gaskets at this point. You know, I did the test, checked it. I don't know. I don't see anything wild and crazy. So I don't know. Part of me thinks it's because I have water in the engine, and I had it running. I let it get up to like 200 and some degrees before I turned the fan on the other day, and maybe I was just boiling the water in it because it was pretty hot, and since it is straight water. So I may end up dropping the water level in it and then going and getting some water wetter, throw some water wetter in it, and see if that'll help as well. From what I can tell, the coolant pressure doesn't really bother me just yet. The car has a 28 pound cap on it, but I mean, it may have been higher than 28 pounds, which is why it ballooned the radiator the way it did, but who knows. Man, I got stuff on my face, look at me. But yeah, ain't nothing to it but to do it, you know what I'm saying? But that's gonna do it for this video. Man, I got stuff all over me, good golly. We have a track day coming up, test and tune. We're gonna take the Mustang and Dad's Dart and see what kind of ETs we can get out of these things. I really wanna break that 540. I'd like to see a 20 out of the car, maybe a teen. I don't know if it has it in it, especially if the engine's hurt. I don't think that's going to work for me. And as far as Dad's car goes, I'm hoping to, you know, we went 590s with that car before, but now that we have some boost controller on it, we can get that thing to make more boost on the two-step. I like to get that 60 foot because I think the fastest 60 foot it's gone was like a 143 or 146 or something like that. If we can get it down in like the 120s, pick up 2 numbers there, I think the car will go 560s on the same power level with just getting it to leave a little bit harder. So anyways, be on the lookout. Race video coming up. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.